Can I start, Prabhu? Prabhu, can I start?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Good, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Good morning, devotees. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, and verse number 42. So let's get started. Madbhayat vati vatoyam suryastapati madbhayat varshat indro dahatir agnir mrityuscharati madbhayat. Madbhayat, out of fear of me. Vati, blows. Vatah, wind. I am this Surya, the sun. Tapati, shines. Madbhayat, out of fear of me. Varshati, showers rain. Indra. Dahati, burns. Agni, fire. Mrityu, death. Charity goes. Madbhayat, out of fear of me. It is because of my supremacy that the wind blows, out of fear of me. The sun shines out of fear of me, and the Lord of the clouds, Indra, sends forth showers out of fear of me. Fire burns out of fear of me, and death goes about taking its toll out of fear of me. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, says in Bhagavad Gita that the natural laws are being enacted are correct in all activities because of his superintendence. No one should think that nature is working automatically without superintendence. The Vedic literature says that the clouds are controlled by the demigod Indra, heat is distributed by the sun god, the soothing moonlight is distributed by Chandra, and the air is blowing under the arrangement of the demigod Vayu. But above all these demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the chief living entity. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. The demigods are also ordinary living entities, but due to their faithfulness, their devotional service attitude, they have been promoted to such posts. These different demigods or directors, such as Chandra, Varuna, and Vayu, are called Adhikari Devta. The demigods are departmental heads. The government of the Supreme Lord consists not only of one planet or two or three, there are millions of planets and millions of universes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has a huge government, and he requires assistance. The demigods are considered his bodily limbs. These are the descriptions of Vedic literature. Under these circumstances, the sun god, the moon god, the fire god, and the air god are working under the direction of the Supreme Lord. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Madhyakshina Prakriti Shuyate Sa Characharam. The natural laws are being conducted under his superintendence. Because he is in the background, everything is being performed punctually and regularly. One who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely protected from all other influences. He no longer serves or is obliged to anyone else. Of course, he is not disobedient to anyone, but his full power of thought is absorbed in the service of the Lord. The statements of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila, that under his direction the air is blowing, the fire is burning, and the sun is giving heat are not sentimental. The impersonalists may say that the Bhagavatam devotees create and imagine someone as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and assign qualifications to him, but actually it is neither an imagination nor an imposition of artificial power in the name of Godhead. In the Vedas, it is said, Bhishashmad Vatah Pavate Bhishodeti Surya. By fear of the Supreme Lord, the wind god and sun god are acting. Bhishasmad Agnishchandrascha Mrityur Dhavati Panchamaha. Agni Indra and Mrityu are also acting under his direction. These are the statements of the Vedas. So let's get started. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so this particular verse actually is a very beautiful verse. It describes the supremacy of Lord Krishna. And, of course, Devahuti has asked a number of questions, and those are now being, answered one by one. This is that whole section. And so Lord Krishna over here is declaring, in this particular translation, Lord Krishna's supremacy is being emphasized, and it is being said that it is because of my supremacy that the wind blows out of fear of me, the sun shines out of fear of me, and the Lord of the clouds, Indra, sends forth showers out of fear of me. Fire burns out of fear of me, and death goes about taking its toll out of fear of me. And, Srila Prabhupada in his purport, of course, has described a lot about, he has explained a lot about the position of demigods versus the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And actually, it reminded me, just a while back, I met a South Korean couple, and they were extremely puzzled, and they were asking me, why is that we worship so many gods and goddesses, and that, we seem to have like god and goddesses for everything. And they were even very confused about the position of cow, that we are worshiping cow, and, so on. And I was just thinking that Sanatan Dharma could probably do a better job of explaining, there may be a lot of other people in the same position as that South Korean couple was. And maybe we all should do a better job of explaining our position to others. Because some of them really do get confused, because we have so many gods, and they're like, why are they worshiping so many gods? Why are they worshiping cow? Why are they worshiping this animal, that animal? They just can't get their hands around it. I was thinking that we are so lucky, I think, in ISKCON, that actually even among some people in Hinduism, there's a little bit confusions from time to time about certain aspects. But I think we are so lucky because Srila Prabhupada has, put before us Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita translations and purports. And, so we are in a position that now, we have an understanding, which is not the case with everyone. And the way Srila Prabhupada has explained in the purport, I was thinking that is the way I could have, really explained to them. I did my best to explain the way that I could, to them, and I think they understood. But Srila Prabhupada has done such a beautiful job in this purport, of explaining that why is it that, we are worshiping Lord Krishna instead of the demigods. And the first thing, of course, he says is that, the supreme personality of Godhead, everything is actually, there's only one. There's not really like this thousands and thousands of supreme personality. There's only one. And according to Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly mentioned that it is Krishna, and everything is actually working under his superintendence itself. And so all these gods, like we have the sun god, and then we have the moon god, and all those Chandra and Vayu, they are all under the superintendence of Lord Krishna. And it's very interesting because Srila Prabhupada mentions that the demigods are actually ordinary living entities, but what happens is that they are much more elevated than us, because they are faithful in their devotional service. And so these are like departmental heads, like how we have, like in our government, we have prime minister, president, and we have different governments and different government agencies under them. That's how different demigods are in charge of different departments. And so Supreme God has assistants in a way. And so that's what their position is. But one who is actually taking shelter of Lord Krishna does not need to go to the different demigods or so on. But the thing is, demigods should always be very much respected, because they are, after all, much more elevated than us, but there is only one Supreme Personality of God. And then another thing that I found very interesting in this particular translation is, a lot of time the word fear is emphasized. And in fact, the word fear is emphasized 5 times in this purport. That the Lord says that out of fear of me, wind blows, out of fear of me, sun shines, and Indra sends clouds, and and fire burns out of fear of me, death is out of fear of me. So actually, there are 2 kinds of fear. One is the kind of fear which cripples you, which leads, like some people get into depression. That's a different kind of fear. Getting into too much superstitions and, that depression kind, that's another type of fear. But this is a very healthy type of fear. And this healthy type of fear is actually needed for progress, because if you go to see, like if you see even a child, he or she may be a little fearful of their parents and may work hard for good grades. And then even when you go to the office, you know that you have to report to your superior, you have to achieve certain goals. If you didn't have that fear, you wouldn't even work. So the thing is, a certain amount of fear is necessary. And that is why it is said over here, the Lord Krishna, that it is due to my supremacy that the wind blows, that they all work out of fear of me. They know that I'm watching, but yet I'm not involved. I'm just like hands off. I'm I'm just watching over them. And these people, these all demigods are working out of fear of me, which is very, 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 very nice. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Adi Leela, in 5.142, the translation goes, and I read, Lord Krishna alone is the supreme controller, and all other are his servants. They dance as he makes them do so. So there's only one controller. There really can be only one. And Krishna has said in many, many places, how he has proclaimed that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and how everyone else is, in fact, just kind of reporting to him, And like even in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, he has said that this material nature, like whatever material nature we have, it is one of my energies, and it's working under my direction, And O son of Kunti, and it brings about all living entities and non-living entities. And under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Again, he says that any material creation basically is actually just something that I am doing, on the background. And so the demigods are, they from time to time, even if they may think that they are very superior, they are not superior to Lord Krishna. And one of the stories that comes into mind is that of Lord Indra, as the pastime of Lord Krishna is that the cowherd men, they were offering sacrifices to they wanted to satisfy Lord Indra, because they were dependent on Lord Indra for giving them rain, for their agricultural pursuits and so on. And so they were a little scared, and they wanted to worship Lord Indra. They were offering sacrifices, yajnas and all. And Krishna, Krishna was still little, and he came and told his father Nanda, that stop the sacrifice. And indeed, all the arrangements that you have made for the sacrifice, give it to Govardhan Hill and the Brahmins. And his father, at first, he tried to convince him that how we should be going on. This has been going on for some time, and, we should continue with this tradition. But then Krishna explained in great detail, many, many different reasons. And so Nanda Maharaj, he started to look from Krishna's viewpoint, and he agreed to stop the sacrifice to Krishna. And of course, Indra got so angry that the sacrifice to him had been stopped, that there was incessant rain. And we all, a lot of us, if not all of us, know that Krishna lifted the Govardhan Hill to protect the residents, from the rain. And it rained and rained, and later on, Indra realized his mistakes. The rain stopped, and the Govardhan Hill was put back into place. And then we have Indra realized his mistake, that he is not really superior, and that this is Lord Krishna, who's the most topmost being. And so he had a series of prayers to Lord Krishna, very sweet prayers, of course. And the Lord said that I stopped your sacrifice just to show you my causeless mercy and to remind you that I am your eternal master. I am the master of not only you, but all the demigods, he says. And you should remember that the material opulences that you have, they are only by my mercy, and I can show favor, I can chastise anyone, and no one is superior to me, he said. And then he advised Indra, of course, that be careful against false pride, that's what he said. And time and again, even if we think, I was thinking that even if we think that we are very good devotees, or even ordinary devotees, we have to be very, very careful against pride. We have to be very careful. We are no one. Literally, we are no one. Everything that we are is because Krishna is giving us a chance. It's sometimes if you think, oh, I chant these many rounds, or I do this service or that service, I'm very great. You're not. Because every little thing that you got is really only Krishna's grace, really. So you have to be very, very careful against pride, especially as devotees, I think. So also another thing is that for us, of course, in this age of Kali, the congregational chanting of the holy name has been, is what Lord Chaitanya has recommended. And so it's very important for us to remember that, because that is the topmost instruction, of the age of Kali, the congregational chanting of the holy name. So I was thinking that, for today's presentation, I would do something that I studied probably, or I came across as a child. And it's also dealing with Krishna, and something, it's also related to what do you call, Bhagavad Gita. So there was a poem, which I think some of us must have studied in our Hindi class, or even if we didn't study in our Hindi class, we may have come across. It's called Krishna Ki Chetavani. Actually, it's a Hindi poem, and it's written by somebody called a poet, very famous poet called Ramdhari Singh Dinkar. And he was actually a poet from pre-independence day, and he used to write nationalistic poetry. And later on, I think in 1959, he won the Padma Bhushan. And so he's written this beautiful poem. He's written, of course, his command over the language is very, very very good. So this poem is really very sweet, and it's called Krishna Ki Chetavani. And this is the time that, and it explains the supremacy of Krishna, which I thought would be a good thing to tie to this purport, to this translation purport verse. Okay. So, and I'm going to mostly tell you the thing in the poem in English, but I'll read 4 or 5 maybe stanzas in Hindi. So it's the time that Sri Krishna, he came to Hastinapur. The Pandavas had sent him to the Kauravas to entreat to not have war and to have some sort of a negotiation of peace. And he comes and tells the Kauravas that, just give me half, just give us half. If you cannot even give us half, just give us 5 villages. That will be enough. So he says, दो न्याय अगर तो आधा दो, पर इसमें भी यदि बाधा हो तो दे दो केवल 5 ग्राम, रखो अपनी धरती तमाम. Means just give us 5 villages. In the end he comes down to, or half. But Duryodhan couldn't even find it in his heart to give even those 5 villages to the Kauravas. So it's like Duryodhan वह भी ना दे सका, आशीष समाज की ले ना सका, उल्टे हरि को बांधने चला, जो था असाध्य साधने चला, जब नाश मनुज पर छाता है, पहले विवेक मर जाता है. So but Duryodhan, he didn't even want to give them, not even 5 villages. And he wanted to actually tie Lord Krishna. That was another foolishness. And there's a very beautiful line in this poetry where that, when there's the downfall of a man, first the intelligence goes of the man. That is Vivek mar jata hai. That is what the poet says. And so Krishna got really angry. And, he said, he told Duryodhan, okay, you want to tie me? Tie me, he says. Zanjeer bada kar साध मुझे, हाँ हाँ दुर्योधन बांध मुझे. He says, yes, tie me up. यह देख गगन मुझ में लय है, यह देख पवन मुझ में लय है, मुझ में विलीन झंकार सकल, मुझ में लय है संसार सकल. Means he's like, everything in the world is in me. What are you going to tie? Himalaya is my shining crown, the ground is in me, my arms are around the world, the mountains are in me, and then the stars are in me, then the past and the future, the creation, the Mahabharata war is also in me, and then past, present, future, and everyone's born from me. What are you going to tie? And then there's a whole long stanzas of, what exactly you're going to tie, and then I'll just read a little bit more because it's so beautiful. I love this poetry. Shatkoti Vishnu Brahma Mahesh, Shatkoti Jishnu Jalpati Dhanesh, Shatkoti Rudra Shatkoti Kal, Shatkoti दंडधर लोकपाल, जंजीर बढ़ाकर साध इन्हें, हाँ हाँ दुर्योधन बांध इन्हें, बांधने मुझे तो आया है, जंजीर बड़ी क्या लाया है, यदि मुझे बांधना चाहे मन, पहले तो बांध अनंत गगन, सोने को साध न सकता है वो, मुझे बांध कब सकता है. So the Lord says, you're not going to be able to tie me up, because how will you tie all these things, and yes, try now, try, he says. But then he also says, now there's no other recourse. We have to have this Mahabharata wall, and Duryodhan, you will be responsible. And so we see in this poem that the Lord, and I've just said it in very short. The poem is actually much, much longer. And, the Lord says, I'm this, I'm that, and that. And I was also just thinking that in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11 is so beautiful, because the Lord, he says, when he displays his universal form, he says, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this and that. And, sometimes, when we read the chapter, we are like, it's so nice because, everything is Lord Krishna, right? So that is what Lord Krishna says, that everything is really me, though in this translation, he's pointing out a few things, but actually everything is Lord Krishna himself. And then again, my thoughts went to, okay, he says, Duryodhan, you cannot tie me up. But then he does get tied up by Mother Yashoda, actually, right? And so we in Damodar Leela, we see the time, which is, again, very beautiful pastime. And, I love this pastime, how, Mother Yashoda was churning butter, and Krishna comes and, he wants attention, and, she starts feeding him. And then soon the milk starts boiling, and then, and begins to boil over, and she goes there, and Krishna feels neglected, and, he's like, he gets angry and he breaks the butter pot, right? And then Mother Yashoda comes back, and she sees that the butter pot is broken and everything, and then she finds her son sitting in a wooden grinding mortar, and he was feeding the monkeys and all that. And then Krishna started looking this way and that way because he was so scared now that he got caught. And this is such a sweet thing, really. And then she took a stick in her hand, and then, and Krishna began like running here and there and here and there. And, and Mother Yashoda's like running about him. And then finally, she captures him, and then she wants to put this rope around him. And the rope is always, and it's such a sweet scene. I think most of us mothers actually can relate to it. It's so, I mean, everybody can relate to it, but I think, mothers have been through this really a lot. So this kind of, naughtiness by children, but Krishna's naughtiness is, of course, at another level. He's the supreme personality. It's more sweet for him, and, hearing about him. And Mother Yashoda, of course, tries to tie him, but the rope is always 2 inches short, and she keeps running and trying, and she goes and getting more and more rope, and Krishna, she cannot tie him. And finally, Krishna feels sorry for her, and he says, okay, I'll let her tie me up. And the supreme personality of Godhead agrees to get tied only by a pure devotee of the Lord. And Jiva Goswami says that there are two things really, which there are two important points. One is the effort of the devotee, like how much effort you're putting in, like how much chanting you're doing, how much service maybe, or whatever, how much qualities you're trying to develop, or whatever, which comes with bhakti, actually, how much bhakti you're doing. And then and the second thing, of course, is the grace of the Lord. That is important, because without the grace of the Lord, we are really nothing. But the grace of the Lord will only be there if the effort will be there from your side. So both have to work in tandem. So again, coming back to this particular purport, of course, Srila Prabhupada uh, has said that in this particular purport, that very very clearly, that how the demigods are just parts of Lord Krishna. They're like the limbs of Lord Krishna, he says. They are like Krishna's limbs, but they are not but Krishna is the entire whole. And so anything that comes, even from the demigods, really comes from Krishna. And one who is actually worshipping or has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it does not have to, is not really obliged to anything else. And and then, of course, very nicely, the concept of fear, which I think is a healthy fear, has been explained in this purport. So that's all I have for today. Anyone have any comments or questions? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. I need to drop off in a minute, but I was just thinking why the Lord is using fear so many times. So,
Yeah, probably I said it's a healthy fear. Like if you go to work and you're not even scared of your boss,
mm,
you're not going to do anything. Why should you? You know, right? So there's something called a healthy fear, and something which is an unhealthy fear. So the healthy fear is what drives success, but the unhealthy, of course, we don't have to go there, but because it leads to depression and all those, but um, there's some little bit of fear is necessary, and that's my understanding, Prabhu, at least.
mm.
Anyone else can also chip in.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please
Hare
accept my
Krishna.
humble obeisances. First of all, your Ramdhari Singh Dinkar poem brought back my childhood memories of learning Hindi in Kendriya Vidyalaya.
Yeah.
And then, secondly, this fear I was thinking,
Mm-hmm.
um, in another context where we see is this, I was also getting this image of like a headmaster, typical in a typical Indian school. I remember, there was this principal. We all used to fear him, not
Uh-huh.
that he did anything directly to us or hurtful or anything, but just his position made us, like be upright, so to speak. The pastime that was coming to my mind was, of course, in this pastime, Lord Narasimhadev was very, very angry.
Mhm.
But towards the end, when the demigods come to offer prayers,
Mhm.
we see that, because that is the relationship they have with him, the relationship of a master and a servant. We
Mhm.
don't see that fear in devotees who are like you said, like Mother Yashoda. It was the opposite.
Mhm.
But when the relationship between the Lord and his subordinate is of a master and servant, then, like you said, it is but natural to have that as a way of connecting with him. So I'm just thinking that, fear is a way of connecting with him, just
Yes.
like love is a way of connecting with him.
Uh-huh.
Depending on the mood of the relationship, fear is a way of connecting with him. I could be wrong, but I was just thinking in
Yeah,
those
no,
lines.
Mataji, that's a very good point. The master and servant point also, there's certain amount of fear, has, yeah, very nice, Mataji,
Yes,
yes.
Mataji, thank you so much. I think that helps a little bit more. I need to drop off now.
Thank you so
I
much.
made you host, Mataji. You can end once the discussion is over, okay?
Oh, sure. Thank you for your help, Prabhu. Any other comments or questions? If not, I think we'll end here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.